The following program is being brought to you on the Seventh Wave Network. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit seventhwavenetwork.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Empowering Your Soul with Lisa Ouellet. If you're ready to make personal changes in your life and the lives of those around you, get ready for an hour of encouragement, enlightened guests, and engaging stories. Now, here is your host, Lisa Ouellet.
Good afternoon and welcome to Empowering Your Soul. I am your host, Lisa Ouellet. Today is September 12th. It's Friday. We're doing a live show. I'd like to do a quick shout out to my dad today, September 12th. It's his birthday. So happy birthday, Paul. I know you're listening in. You listen in every week. Hope to see you later tonight for cake and ice cream. So But I do wanted to take a moment to just quickly address, last week we did a show on dating and online dating and matchmaking, the difference between the two. I had so much positive feedback. I just wanted to thank everybody that sent in their feedback and all their comments about what was going on and, you know, in their lives, and share all your encouraging words. So I'm glad that you liked the show. And in the future, if there's any particular show topic you would like to hear about, I would love for you to email me or visit me live, on my website, or tune in, or just give me a call, whatever you'd like to do. I'm always open to different types of shows. I would also just really like to quickly say that I'm running in lieu of the fall equinox coming up. I'm running a special right now for first-time callers. If you've never called me for an intuitive reading or had a session with me, I'm offering $50 off through September 22nd when the fall equinox is, or $25 off a half-hour reading, or $50 off a 1-hour reading. If you just like to get a session with me, I'm just decided to run that special for people that have never called in. So if you'd like to, it's Lisa Ouellet at Comcast.net. You can email me. So again, thank you everybody for listening for the last couple of weeks and all the different shows we've had. Today we have an exciting show. I'm so excited about it today. It's animal communication. I'm sorry, not animal communication. It's spirit animals and spirit totem animals. And the guests that we have on today are Pat Nelson and Bryce. I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce his name correctly or not. It is Bryce I'm not even sure I can pronounce that. Korzenowski. All right, thank you. And they used to be hosts on the Voice America show as well. They had a show called Illuminating You, and they are from Canada. It's Pat and Bryce from Illuminated Evolution in Canada, and they're going to be here with us today to enlighten us on all the questions that you've ever had about totem animals and spirit animals. If anybody would like to call in, you can call in at 866-472-5795 and ask them your questions. So that being said, thank you so much for being guests on my show today, Pat and Bryce.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa, for having us. It's exciting to be back on radio, and especially with someone like you who's just as bright a soul as we can find.
Oh, great. I'm so excited. When the opportunity came up for you guys to do a show with me, I think you had the same executive producer, and she suggested we would be a good fit. So I was very excited, and it seemed to work out so well. So let's start by telling everybody, maybe just a little bit about yourselves. If you want to just tell everybody a little bit about what you do, maybe each one of you just briefly.
Okay, well, like you said, I'm Bryce Korzenowski. I've been doing spirit readings. We do Reiki, reflexology. Also, we're certified life coaches. More spiritual healers, but we got certification so that people could see that nice little plaque on the wall saying, "Guess what? We did something in school."
Yeah.
And I've been doing it since I was 27 years old, awake type thing. Pat helped awaken that I was always doing this but unaware of it, and have loved it. Well, I'm not going to say ever since, because it's been trying and tribulations of trust, but it's been an excellent journey.
Oh, great. Well, that's what That's wonderful to hear. I like stories like that. I like it when people are awakened. And Pat, what about yourself?
Well, I've been awake since I was 5 years of age, literally. Doesn't mean I fought my path or didn't fight my path. I did often. But I also had a grandmother, Cree-grandmother, and she raised me beautifully and taught me quite a bit and helped me to stay fairly true to myself throughout the years, along with many other teachers, Native American teachers, Peruvian teachers, Asian teachers, some shamans down in Montreal. I've been very, very blessed with some amazing people to connect with. And so I've really been a medium and a spiritual healer since I was 5.
Oh, wow. Good for you. That's awesome. That's great. I love it. So if you could tell everybody, I know there's a lot of people listening in today that do know, but I know that I have some listeners out there that are all about empowerment, but not necessarily maybe don't know anything about spirit or totem animals. Mm-hmm. So if you could share with the audience maybe what are spirit animals or spirit totem animals, and is there a difference between a totem animal and a spirit animal? If you could just share with everybody.
For sure. Well, first let's start with the word totem, which is an actual Ojibwa name, and it means family member or relative. And totem, the word totem is just North American, but totems are worldwide, literally. Everybody uses them, everybody has them. So they are actually a family member or a relative, whereas spirit animals are animals in the spirit that come and lend us energy or lessons for a short time. A totem will be with us for a lifetime.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I did not know the difference between the two either, because I know in the introduction to the show, in the show description, I asked, do we have one with us from birth or do they change as we move through life? So the one that we have with us from birth would be our totem animal, is that correct?
Yes, and we usually have more than one. So hence totem poles. You've seen totem poles. There's usually more than one animal on a totem pole. Those aren't monsters like some schools teach our kids, unfortunately. Those are actually the spirit essence of our totems. And we can have up to 20 different totems depending on the person. Usually we have four main totems. And they grow with us. So we'll have one as a 1 to 13-year-old when we're pure emotion. That helps us to learn those emotions. And then we have one as a young teen that helps us to learn those lessons, and so on and so forth until we come into our adulthood where we get our main totem that walks with us. But we use them all. They're all our relatives.
Oh, okay. Now, when you say the one that you have as an adult, does that stay with you for the rest of your rest of your journey until you cross over?
Yes, that would be your main one.
Okay. And you're saying adulthood, so what? I mean, I'm not trying to pinpoint you. I'm just wondering, like, in your 30s and your 40s, like, is there a particular time that comes into our life?
Well, if we're looking at a calendar, and if we were all raised properly, it would be about 39.
Okay.
But nowadays, I could be a teenager literally at 60 still, right? Because I haven't grown or been raised in a conducive environment, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully if you're a listener out there and you are not familiar with this makes a little bit of sense to you. Everybody has them though, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you say that, I mean, my show is called Empowering Your Soul. So how would you say that having a totem or actually having a spirit animal, knowing about that, how would that empower you?
Well, how that empowers you is it helps you to draw from what that animal is in nature. So, for instance, mine's a black wolf. So, so my adult is a black wolf, and how I would look at that is how can I draw the power from what a wolf is? So it's a pack animal. So being able to understand it's a pack animal. If I'm trying to be a loner and I'm depressed or there's something that isn't quite works with myself, then I would look at something like that and come out and say, well, you know what? If I'm supposed to be a pack animal and I'm trying to be alone, well, that's going against what my totem is. And if we go towards eating meat, that's why I love. It's another reason why I love eating meat is because that's part of what my totem is. Now, if I start to go against that and I'm having turmoil in myself, I can always look back at my totem animal and empower myself by looking at that and coming through and saying, okay, am I being true to what my animal is and where I'm sitting at, and being able to utilize those things? And if I'm not, well, then maybe if I change that, that's where some of my turmoils in my life might come.
Oh, okay. So it's really all about kind of knowing yourself and knowing where you're at, and the animal just helps to guide you on your path?
Absolutely. And then so on that same point, if we see that animal in the wild, so again, another thing to also look at is, well, we're from North America, so we're going to be using North American animals because that's where our ancestry, that's where we come from. Now, I wouldn't go and use a lion because I'm not from that area. So how would I have that animal? And this is where people come out and say, "Well, I'm an eagle." Well, there's no eagles down where I'm at, type thing, or not me specifically.
Right.
It would be hard to be able to associate those things because we can't see those things in nature. So again, going on to what I was talking about, if I see that animal in nature, like a wolf, then I would look at where I'm sitting at with that day. If I'm feeling low and down, well, then maybe I've got to start looking at that. If I'm feeling up and things are going well, it's to help that spirit animals coming out and showing itself and saying you're on your path.
Okay, that really makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, you just mentioned if an animal crosses your path and you see it. Well, okay, so I guess a question that I might have for you would be, what if you see an animal that crosses your path all the time, but you don't know what your totem is? Does that mean that that's your totem?
No,
or your
not necessarily.
Your spirit guide or something? Like if you see, I know this is not the example, but like lately crickets have been coming into my life. I've seen crickets right and left, and like they're just right there in front of my face. And I don't think that cricket is my animal, but could it be because it's coming into my life all of a sudden? When it jumps in front of your path, or when you're driving down the street and you start to repeatedly see the same animal, does that mean anything?
Absolutely. It doesn't necessarily mean it's your totem.
Okay.
But like we say, they're spirit animals, and they come to give us their energy or give us wisdom or give us a teaching or give us insight into ourselves, right?
Right.
So perhaps you recently had a fear of death, or you were wondering about death, and crickets is a symbol of longevity and of wisdom. The cricket might be coming to tell you, don't worry, you're going to live a long life. Don't worry, you're going to find wisdom, whatever, right?
Right. Okay.
And so what we say to people, if you want to learn your totem animal, is you specifically put it out there, ask, pray for it, and then you wait for at least 3 synchronicities.
Okay.
Okay, within a 7-day period or whatever. You can give a time frame, doesn't matter to me, but you have to have more than just one sighting just come in front of you, right?
Right.
And so we wait for at least 3 synchronicities. And it might be that you turn on the show and there's a horse. All of a sudden a horse show. And then you drive out of town and a man is riding into town on a horse, which is a little unusual, but you know what? It's going to come like that, right?
Exactly.
And then suddenly someone gives you a card in the mail and it's got pictures of horses on it.
Okay. And how much of a time period? Did you say 7 days?
Yeah, it's up to you guys. You guys could say within 24 hours, but I wouldn't because knowing me, I'm a little slow sometimes, so I give myself about a week.
Me too. I want to make sure that I can definitely. So that's a way for people to ask how their totem, or not. It's not even their totem at this point. It's their spirit animal, correct?
Absolutely, but you can do that for a totem too.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So you're talking to me. I know people might be calling in and asking what their animal is. Could you do that? If I asked you right now, could you tell me what my spirit animal is? Or I don't know, my spirit or my totem. I don't know either one. Would you be able to share that with me, tuning in?
Absolutely. So the first time I saw or talked to you, the first thing I got was the rabbit. Okay. And the rabbit to me is not your totem. It's an animal that's close to you right now, and it's because I don't know what's going on with you, but there's some unusable fears that need to be cleaned out, just little things, and that's usually what the rabbit means. It's an unusable fear. If you look at a rabbit out in nature and it gets afraid, it just stops.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't tend to hide right away. It just stops. And so quite often they get eaten by hawks or whatever, right?
Sure.
That's why there's so many of them. So they literally, that's kind of their meaning is unusable fear. When they come into our lives a lot of times, it's something to look at, that there's something holding us back that might be a small, unusable fear that we got from our parents or whatever, right? You know stuff like that, right?
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about, too. This is making sense to me.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. Yeah. But then that walks behind you, is a little black bear.
Oh, all
okay.
Right.
And so it's not that it's young, but it's just a little black bear. And it's neat because feeling your energy, to me, you feel very bear-like to me and mother bear-like. And so you're kind of, you go about your day not really concerning yourself about others or whatever. You do what you need to do. You're not slow by any means. If you need to be fast, you will be. And you eat for health. You're working on eating for health. And but then if someone was to test you, you would come out like a bear.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Right? But it takes a little bit to get there. But if someone was to come out and test you and challenge you, you would be like a bear.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
So if we look at it, part of the reason why it would walk behind you or behind those things is because it's not only being able to understand what your totem animal is, but it's being able to get to that totem animal. So through people and their healing walks, if they're still at, like Pat talked about earlier, where you're 60 years old, but you're still kind of an adolescent because you still haven't grown out of that, are different animals that we have that attach to us represent different parts of us. So, our animal in the east is going to represent what we would put forward right off the bat. And maybe that's what you put off right off the bat is the rabbit. And that's something that you're putting off at the start. So it's looking at that, understanding, well, do I need to really be there, or is that what I'm going to encompass? Am I all about family? Because rabbits are about procreation as well, and family and survival. So so if we're looking at those types of things, all those animals that Pat talked about at the beginning, and then when we come into our adulthood, it'll still be sitting there when we're an actual adult, however age we're sitting at the time, it's going to still be sitting there, but maybe our other animals are going to be wanting to come through a little bit more before we can actually harness and embody our adult animal.
And for you too, Lisa, the bear is, in our tradition, is the healer.
Oh, nice. Well, I do Reiki, and that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So the bear then, were you saying that was my spirit or my totem?
That'd be your totem.
Totem, okay. And that's what I've had with me since birth, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And then the rabbit is just an animal that's coming around, drawing your attention to something that you need to get through or learn from.
No, and it totally makes sense. If I know you don't know me, so that's that makes a lot of sense to me. So anybody listening out there, if you'd like to call in, we're going to just jump to a commercial break real quick now, but 866-472-5795. You can ask any questions you'd like to Pat and Bryce. So, all right. In just a moment, we are going to come back and we're going to talk more about just different animals. I want to talk about the different animals that relate to spirituality. So stay tuned after this break and we'll be right back.
This is the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
Lisa Ouellet is honored to assist you as you move forward from imprisonment to empowerment. Individual intuitive sessions are available in person, by telephone, or via Skype. Visit www.lisaouellet.com. While there, you can also find information about 1-hour and half-hour Reiki sessions, life coaching, and tuning into your intuition classes. These classes will help you learn to trust your intuition and tune into yourself more easily. Mention that you heard about us on Empowering Your Soul and receive 10% off your next session. Visit lisaouellet.com today. We all hold a spiritual database, as it were, within our hearts and souls. But at times, it can be difficult to access this resource. On Akashic Therapy, Unlock the Records of Your Soul, host Amanda Romania will help you to tap into this valuable part of our subconscious. Once you've done this, you can open up your life to a far greater happiness like you've never experienced before. Become a messenger for change and a higher purpose. Tune in to Akashic Therapy, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave channel.
The Voice America 7th Wave channel. Be extraordinary. Be the change.
You are listening to Empowering Your Soul. To reach Lisa Ouellet, you may send an email to lisawillette@comcast.net. That's lisawillette@comcast.net. Now, back to Empowering Your Soul.
Welcome back to Empowering Your Soul. If you're just tuning in now, I am your host, Lisa Ouellet. Today I'm talking with Pat Nelson and Bryce Korzenowski of Illuminated Evolution in Canada, and we're talking about spirit and totem animals. They were just kind enough to share with me right before commercial break what my spirit animal that I have with me is a rabbit, and my totem animal that I've had with me, I guess since birth, is a black bear, a little black bear. So that's very interesting to find out. Now, we were just talking on the commercial break too, and so Pat and Bryce, could you share with the audience how people, or how I could, tune into that a little bit more, or how people can find out more information about their animals?
Well, your best way is to be able to, one, research the animal, whether it's on the internet or watching it on TV, or it doesn't matter how it goes, but looking at what the animal is, so what it does with its family, what it does in nature, how it reacts, how it acts, where it situates even in the food chain. So if it's a predator, if it's a prey, if it's situated with a herbivore, omnivore, carnivore, and understanding what it eats. So, like for instance, if let's go to your bear. Your bear is an omnivore, so it'll eat plants and animals. And so sometimes what you're going to be eating, or if you see an animal, and let's say you see the black bear and it's eating some berries, and your stomach isn't feeling well and you're kind of concerned about it and thinking about it for the last couple of days, and all of a sudden you see it eating some berries, is understand what that animal is eating and maybe go and eat it, and that's going to help you understand that animal is giving you that lesson. And by us researching it and looking at it, how it situates in nature. Now, again, you can read books, and you can go into the bookstore and you can look up totem animals and what they mean, and what those are is somebody else's definition of where they sit, and they might relate to nature. But if they're not relating to nature and they're just going off of what their opinion is, sometimes that can throw us off. And like I say, there's lots of great books out there, and there's lots of books out there that will lead us down a path that isn't going to sit us exactly where we need to sit. And exactly where we need to sit is more of a figurative speech, because, well, that animal can change in certain spots depending on where you're sitting at. So like I say, omnivore, herbivore, carnivore, it all depends, right?
Yeah.
The bear being a healer, it's wonderful. Our Cree ancestors up here often, when they're out hunting or in the bush, they would see a bear and they would watch it, and if it digs up roots, they would eat root vegetables that night, and it would help the people.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's great. Oh, I love it. I love it. We are going to, I'm not sure. We have two callers on the line. So let's see. Let us take one of the callers. Okay. I think they're going to be putting it through in just a moment. Oh, hi, Kathy.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Guests.
Hello.
How about totems? This is exciting.
Yeah. What's your question for us, Kathy?
But I can barely hear you, Lisa. I have my volume turned up high, but it's hard to hear you.
I'm sorry. What is your question for us,
I'm
Kathy?
having a hard time hearing you.
What is your question today, Kathy?
Okay, I know that, well, I was told by a shaman that my spirit guide, or inner spirit guide, I believe it is a white dragon. Okay. And then I have a white wolf and white polar bear. Okay. And I'm wondering how to use these, how to tap into them. I've never seen them myself.
Okay, so those are highly powerful spirit animals, and it's unusual that one person would have all three of those, but good on you. So the first thing to understand is you must be of Celtic or European origin to have the dragon usually, or a past life from there, a big past lives or many past lives.
Yes.
And the dragon is also in the dream time now. It's not in our world anymore. It's actually in the dream time.
Right.
So that would mean that you'd have to do a lot of meditating to get to that one. There's no doubt about that. You'd have to go deep into meditation to even get any wisdom from that one.
Oh, okay.
And the other two, the polar bear, obviously, and the white wolf, all from the north. In our tradition, those animals from the north, Siberia, North Pole, all that area. The north meaning very spiritual. That's on the circle of life, is very spiritual, right? And so to get to know those, as Bryce was saying, you'd want to do the research on the actual animal themselves. Okay?
Okay.
The white polar bear is not the spirit bear. Those two are different. Okay? But also reading the legends of North American natives in regards to the white bear and the white wolf, more so the white bear you'll have, because there is some legends in regards to the constellations and the Pleiades, which are the star people, right? Which go along with the polar bear as well.
Okay.
Okay, so to get to know those, and then, of course, even Lisa can do this with her black bear. If you just go into a deep meditation and ask, or just a regular meditation even, and ask for your totem animals or your spirit animals and your guides to come to you, and just get to know them, play with them in meditation. Ask them to teach themselves about you. Often I go around talking to my animals during the day as I'm out in the bush or cleaning the house. I ask them, hey, let's chat, and we literally chat, when you get into that little hum, and you can, right? They're there with you all the time. Just because we don't see them in the physical, they're actually right beside us, with us, willing to guide us and be with us and teach us every moment of every day. We just have to be accessible.
And I also,
okay.
I also think
Does that
it's
make
very
sense to you, Kathy?
important to understand, not saying this shaman that told you that is wrong or right, but it's looking for it for yourself. Lots of people can be told something, but if you have the synchronicities that relate to it, then you're going to spend an awful lot of time searching around. And so if you go into meditation, you're trying to pull up, the white wolf, and, a squirrel keeps on coming in, and you're kicking it out of there and saying, well, no, hey, get out of here. I'm looking for my wolf. And then you'll go back into your meditation. And lots of people will go towards that because they're being told that this is what it is. But
in reality, whenever something good is about to happen, I see a peacock.
Well, there you go. So maybe you actually have a peacock.
Okay.
Well,
that makes sense, Kathy.
It's best to ask those questions and get your own answers as opposed to going off of somebody else, to set your right path rather than down a path somebody has told you where it's situated.
That's why I've been confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, because, we know lots of people are amazing healers and amazing people, but we still get confused in what we see and what we hear. And so we always teach our students, find your commitment and find your synchronicities yourself for what it is. Like I say, 3 white animals are very powerful, and I think it would be really hard for any one person to contain and work on and focus on 3 of them.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
One of them is awesome, right?
Well, thank you for taking the time to call in, Kathy. I hope that helped you a little bit.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Okay, great. We have another caller, too. We have Erin on the line with us, too. Erin from New Hampshire.
Hello.
Hey, Erin, what's your question?
I had a question. I always see hawks. I have my whole life, and sometimes I'll look up the meaning, and it's never really resonated with me, and I was just wondering if it was a totem animal or a spirit guide.
Well, hawks, there's 2 different things. Hawks can be a totem or a spirit animal, but also hawks are a good omen. They're actually considered the little brother to the eagle, and eagle is spirit's messenger, okay? So oftentimes when we're, and it sounds like you what-if life a lot, like what if this is going to happen and what if that's going to happen? And hawks will always come into our life to say, you know what, relax, chill out, everything's great. Good things are going to happen. So a lot of times it could be that. If you've seen them from when you were little, it could definitely be your spirit totem. So what I would do is put it out there to ask, okay, show me if you're my totem or not, and then watch for those synchronicities.
Does that help you, Erin?
Yes, very much.
Okay, great. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent. Now, Pat and Bryce, can we talk about maybe specific meanings for animals? I know that there are specific meanings, and I know that a lot of people listening are on a spiritual path here. For me, the most common spiritual animals that come to mind are the dragonfly, the butterfly, owl, hawk, and wolf. Do those have a specific? I know. We probably don't have enough time. We could do 5 shows on this, but could we briefly just tell a little bit about what each one of those animals is for people out there that might have those in their life?
Okay, so if we looked at, let's go with an owl. So an owl, a spiritual meaning behind an owl is a peaceful death. So is that correct, Pat?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there's a peaceful death for that, and then there's something close for a raven as well. So again, let's go to the owl, considering you brought it up. With regards to peaceful death, if you're seeing that and you're looking towards that as an animal, or that keeps on appearing, that's where that's going to be able to situate in your life. So if you're sitting with that, maybe there's a death coming of not just a person, but a death in a way, a death of a lifestyle, a death of a thought even, a death of an expectation with regards to, let's go with, I'm expecting my wife to come home and serve me supper every night. And all of a sudden it comes through as, well, she's more than that, and you might see an owl prior to that, and it's a peaceful death to that understanding of that realization. So it's not only did you just get it in that time, but then all of a sudden if you see the owl, then it's going to come through and it's going to actually solidify inside you.
Also, the owl is a spirit animal, can come around to warn you to keep your eyes open in the darkness, right? To keep your eyes open for anything that might come to trip you up, sneak up behind you. The owl's incredibly good at hunting mice and little rodents that are nuisances to us, right? And so it's a warning to say, hey, keep your eyes open and maybe grab those things that are becoming a nuisance and stopping your life from flowing.
And if you look at the owl and how it flies and how quiet it is and how it swoops around, and exactly like Pat says, it can see in all directions. So that's how we can solidify what we're talking about with regards to the animal and how it situates in nature. So the truth behind it can be solidified and a little bit more real to an understanding.
Okay, and what about butterflies?
Oh, the butterfly is amazing. Do you know in real life the butterfly or the caterpillar when it goes into cocoon actually completely liquefies and then reforms into a butterfly. Oh, and only 4% of those will reform and live. And so in our traditions, what we've understood, and I also understood this from South America and the Aboriginals, is the butterfly is about complete emotional transformation because of the liquid. And so a butterfly is an amazing omen. To have it as a totem means that you're not going to carry a lot of purses or heavy baggage around with you. Any baggage is going to be too heavy, that you need to go, and you are a type of person that goes with the flow. Trust completely. If you look at a butterfly, it flies on the wind, gets pushed everywhere, but is always fed, always taken care of. So a butterfly person needs to be aware that they need to trust spirit and guidance for everything in their life.
Oh, that's awesome. I personally see the butterfly all the time. That when I ask spirit, I don't know that it's one of my animals or not, but what I ask all the time is if there's a message for me. Usually I see an orange butterfly come into my path. So.
Awesome. So that would mean no worries. Just trust, everything will be given. And, if you're like gypsy blood, butterfly is the perfect animal to follow because you can't carry a lot, right? Not a butterfly. It wouldn't fly, right?
True. Oh, that's awesome. I know that I know we have a caller. I don't know that we have enough time to take that call right before I think we may take a call right after the break. We have one last caller. But I have a question for you, and the dragonfly and the hawk and all that. But I wanted to know, I have this question. If we see an animal repeatedly show up in our lives that we're frightened of, does that mean anything to us? Well, I mean, if we're afraid of it, like scared to death, like again, I'm going to use me as an example because I'm not afraid to share, but I am petrified of spiders, and they show up all the time. Like every time I turn around, I'm seeing spiders everywhere. Does that mean anything if we're so afraid of it and it keeps like popping in front of us?
Yes, it does. So I'm going to trade off for spider just because. Well, actually, let's stick with spider. So a spider is.
It's a gateway into the other world through our fears.
So if you're looking at a spider and it being a gateway into your fears, and you're scared of going through that gate of getting over your fears, where that's putting you in your life is saying that I'm scared to go through those gates. I'm scared to bust through my fears.
And grab my power.
Exactly. So where you're situated is that you're scared to go out and do that. So if we go to a bear, and you're scared of a bear, you're scared to get your own healing, because that's what it is in the.
Or to embrace the healer in you.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I'll have to give that some thought.
Yeah.
Great. And I know we only have like another 2 minutes here before we have to go to break. What about the wolf? Is that something I know? And you said, Bryce, that was your animal?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have? Can we quickly, and then maybe in the next 2 minutes, just talk about wolf?
Yeah.
So a wolf is again a pack animal. It hunts as a group. It's a family unit. They mate for life. So with regards to where I situate the wolf in my life is what we do as a business. What we do from Spirit is we have a collective group that we work with all the time, and we collectively work with Spirit. So how that situates with us, myself and Pat has wolf as well, is that we're very collective orientated.
We're very family orientated, clan orientated, and the wolf is also a teacher.
Yeah.
The wolf teaches us so much about how to live, how to work together. They work with ravens. Ravens and wolves work together. How to be a predator and a prey at the same time, much of the time. And so a lot of teachers and spiritual teachers will have wolf with them.
Okay. And what's your animal, Pat?
Mine's the white wolf.
Oh, wow. So you're both wolves. That's
Yes.
great. And that must be good just because you have, that you work together too every day. So that must help you. That must help you facilitate all your healing sessions and everything like that too.
It really does, until we start to play.
Yeah.
It gets a little rough then.
Yeah, I bet it would. Okay. So if you're listening in now and you are not one of the, I know that there was a lot of people that wrote in. I was going to try to get to some of the messages too. I want to make sure I'm getting to all the callers that call in too. So if you're not fortunate enough to be one of the people that gets to call in today and you're interested in finding out more information, you could contact Pat or Bryce directly at Illuminated Evolution in Canada, and you could reach them at mountainpeakw@live.ca, and that's a good way to get hold of them, and they'd be able to, you could have a session with them, find out more about your animal. So stay tuned, we'll be back right after this short commercial break.
The Seventh Wave Channel on the Voice America Network.
Lisa Ouellet is honored to assist you as you move forward from imprisonment to empowerment. Individual intuitive sessions are available in person, by telephone, or via Skype. Visit www.lisawillette.com. While there, you can also find information about 1 hour and half-hour Reiki sessions, life coaching, and tuning into your intuition classes. These classes will help you learn to trust your intuition and tune into yourself more easily. Mention that you heard about us on Empowering Your Soul and receive 10% off your next session. Visit lisawillette.com today.
Step into the doorway to conscious choice, greater health, and well-being. Attain the balance that you've been seeking. Tune in and turn on 1111 Talk Radio. Feed the mind. Embrace positively. Release the tension. Step out of fear. Host Simran Singh will help you broaden your mind and open your heart toward a greater understanding of how to take charge of your life. 1111 Talk Radio is here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on 7th Wave Network. 1111 Talk Radio, because shift happens. Be visionary. Be extraordinary. Be the change. This is the 7th Wave Channel on the Voice America Network.
You are listening to Empowering Your Soul. To reach Lisa Ouellet, you may send an email to lisawillette@comcast.net. That's lisawillette@comcast.net. Now, back to Empowering Your Soul.
Hi, welcome back to Empowering Your Soul. If you're just tuning in now, I'm your host, Lisa Ouellet. You can reach me at lisawillette@comcast.net. Send me your emails and your questions. You can follow my information on my host page at any time you'd like. Follow me on Facebook or Twitter. I'm talking today with guests Pat and Bryce from Illuminated Evolution in Canada, and they could be reached at mountainpeakw@live.ca. We have another caller that called in, and we'll take that call now, and then we'll get to some of the other questions I was going to ask. So I believe we have Maria on the line. Maria from New Hampshire.
That's me.
Hi, Maria.
Hi there.
What's your question?
It's very interesting listening to all of you. I did have a question. I have a pet cow for 4 years now, and he literally came into my path like he could have been dropped there. It couldn't have been any clearer. I've never had a farm or anything, but I was faced with a decision to take him or he was going to go to slaughter. I took him. I learned how to care for him, and just wondered if he was brought into my life as a spirit guide or a totem. Didn't know if you could shed any light on that.
I just got goosebumps.
The first thing I'd want to ask is, are you of East Indian descent?
I'm sorry?
Are you? Do you have any East Indian blood in you?
I have Native American. Is that what you mean?
No, East Indian.
I guess not. I'm Northern.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because a lot of times that's a big animal over there, right?
Oh, you mean over? Yeah. No, I'm not from there. But yes, it is. It's a sacred animal, I believe.
Yes. So I would suggest that animal is not so much a totem, because domestic animals usually aren't.
Okay.
So your totem would be a buffalo if it's going to be a totem that's related to the cow.
Okay.
Okay. But what I would think is that animals come into your life for nurturing, and it's a cow, right? Female, so it gives milk?
Actually, it's a male, and he was going to veal because he was a male, so he wasn't really, in their eyes, useful.
Okay, so he's a steer, right?
Yeah, he's actually an oxen now. He's pretty big.
Okay, so I'm going to absolutely suggest that's buffalo.
Okay.
Okay, and so buffalo in our traditions, North American Indian, is huge. Buffalo gave its life completely to the survival of the human being.
Okay.
100%.
And so if you were to look at that with regards to it coming into your life, you're giving the nurturing, you're giving your life to that animal that needed something to be given. So you guys are walking parallel down the same path for your teachings and your lessons in compassion and understanding.
And giving back for your ancestors. You know, we worked
that's
for
fantastic.
7 generations in the past, right, for the 7 generations to the future. And you are giving back to the buffalo for your ancestors in the past to say thank you, which is, I want to say thank you. That's a huge honor to me. I just can't believe that it's wonderful that you're doing that. Thank you very much.
Well, you know what? I feel honored, so it's funny you say that. I feel honored that he was put in my life, so that really means a lot. That's phenomenal what you said.
And my goosebumps have not gone away since you guys started talking. Oh, well, thank you for calling in, Maria.
Thank you very much, all of you.
I hope that helped a little bit.
Great day.
Okay,
absolutely.
you too. And thank you for the other callers that called in, too. Thank you, Kathy, for your question, and thank you, Aaron, for your question. I appreciate you calling in. I hope those answers that Pat and Bryce were able to give you helped out. So that's fascinating. So she called about a cow, and it turns out to be a buffalo. Interesting. What about, I know we only have a short time left here. God, I could talk to you for the next 10 hours. What about dreams? Are dreams significant when you dream about a certain animal, or you have a recurring animal come to you in your dreams? What about that?
Yes. So to give you an example, I dreamt lots of bears, and I would always be scared of the bear in my dream. I'd be running from it. And so what I wasn't aware of at the time that I was dreaming of those things, that I was running away from my healing, running away from what I needed to do to heal. So as it kept on coming, what it was is my spirit was attaching itself to that animal, and it was saying, Bryce, you need to heal. Bryce, there's stuff that you need to be working on, and you're running from it. You're not looking at that type of thing. So as those animals are coming to us in our dreams, their actions and our reactions and actions to those animals are going to be able to tell us from the dreaming where we are in our path and what we need to be doing or what we're doing excellently in our path.
I have a really good example and something I really want to get a teaching out there about. So the snake. The snake is a dual meaning, okay, all around the world. It can be either a healer or it can mean that we are knee-deep in ego and wants, okay? And I'm going to tell you, most people, 90% of the people that dream in snakes are not in the healing snake wisdom, okay,
right.
Not in today's world. So what we've been taught is if we see a snake cross our path in the dreaming, to learn to choose to kill that snake. And then we kill the wants, and we can eventually obtain the healing essence of the snake.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't let a snake in front of me live anyway, regardless.
Well, if you look at the medical symbol, it's got a snake on it. That's where it came from. In the ancient days, the snake healers, the healers had the healing ability of the snake, and the snake itself has tons of healing abilities if we use it properly.
This is true. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the AMA or something.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Did not realize that. So there's so many questions that I wanted to get to. Let's see if we can really quickly get to one of the questions from our listeners. Let's see. Okay, so Carrie from Mesa, California writes in, I have been trying to see my totem animal during meditation time, but can't seem to get a clear picture of which one it is. Any suggestions?
Okay, so what I would suggest is you let go of the meditation right now, and you ask again to see it in reality, and then watch for those synchronicities that we talked about at the beginning. You know, you might be driving down a farm and see an emu out of the blue right on the farm when there's never been one there before. You might get a card with it on it. You might get somebody calling you an emu out of the blue. You know, whatever synchronicities you can see, and that's going to clarify, because you're probably seeing in your meditation your totem and a spirit animal like the rabbit and the bear that you have, Lisa.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
So ask for those synchronicities here factually in this time, not just in meditation. Because our mind can trick us a lot in meditation if we're untrained, right?
That's true, and our ego gets in the way just like in everything else. Yeah.
So lovely.
Gotta love that ego.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with me today. I loved having you. Again, there's so many other questions. We might have to do a follow-up show on this because I didn't get to half the questions I wanted to ask today.
That'd be wonderful. We had so much fun too, Lisa. Thank you very much for having us.
This was my pleasure, and it was nice to have you back on the Voice America 7th Wave channel. So I'm sure they're happy to have you back, back here and listening on the air or being on the air with us. So again, if anybody would like to get in touch with Bryce and Pat of Illuminated Evolution Canada, you could reach them at MountainPeakW, Mountain Peak W at live.ca. And they have all kinds of amazing things on their website. You can email them there, but definitely catch the they'll give you information to get to their website, and you have an amazing animal session with them, totem session, anything else that you'd like to have. So I'm going to do a quick reading for the week ahead and then introduce next week's guest. And again, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy week and being on my show. I loved having you.
Thank you again, Lisa. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and I am going to use my Dolphin Mermaid cards today, and I'm going to pull 3 cards for the week ahead. I'll shuffle them now as we speak. Do it. We ran close with time here, so I'm going to just do a quick reading. All right, first card I get is positive energy. Second card I get is let yourself receive. And third card I get is worthiness. So to me, these cards are telling me that we need to start being around more positive, like-minded people. If you have family or friends around you that might be being negative, then it's time to kind of step away from the negativity and surround yourself with groups of people, like join support groups or go to meetups or start your own group of positive, like-minded people. Listening to a show like this today, it's all about empowerment and positive energy. So even taking the time out of your day, if you're feeling kind of glum or kind of down, and just doing something positive for yourself to change that energy shift. If you start to feel like you're in a position where things don't seem to be going right for you and you're starting to kind of draw into the negative, turn those thoughts around by thinking of something that really gives you pleasure. It can be something as simple as envisioning a rainbow or thinking of your kids, knowing that they're getting out of school soon, you're going to be playing with them, or, going home to rub your cat's belly at night, or whatever it is that gives you pleasure, but something positive, something that makes you smile. They're just saying to surround yourself with that and avoid the negativity. I know that's easier said than done. The second card is let yourself receive. So again, you might be one of those people that's always giving to other people and not having enough positive reinforcement back to you. You might have a hard time receiving a compliment. I just had a client the other day who was telling me that their neighbor gave them this amazing compliment, and she was like, "Oh, Pishaw, I don't believe that." And it was just a really nice thing to say, but she had a hard time receiving anything positive. She had a hard time hearing anything nice about herself. So let yourself receive, let yourself come into the positive. Let people give to you. You don't have to always be the one to give to everybody else. You don't always have to be the one that's doing for every other person. Your body gets out of sync too, out of balance when the yin and the yang gets out of balance when you're always giving and doing and you don't let yourself receive. Then the good doesn't always come in. You're stopping the flow of abundance sometimes by doing that. So be open. Tell yourself, using that positive energy, tell yourself it's okay to let somebody do for you. You don't have to be a martyr all the time. You can just kind of take a step back and ask for help. Or if somebody offers it, accept it. There's always people out there that want to help you. The third card is knowing that you're worthy of it. The worthiness card comes in to let you know that you definitely deserve to have good come your way. So maybe you've been surrounded by negative people in the past, and maybe you've been doing too much for other people. Maybe it makes you feel better when you give to other people. But this card is saying to take a step back and let yourself be realize that you are worthy, that you are special, that you deserve to have positive things happen for you. So when you get out of that mindset of realizing that if you get out of the mindset of thinking you don't deserve to have good, then better things will come in for you. So allowing yourself to be, I guess, deserving is more or less what it comes down to. So hopefully that will help you. That will be for the week of September. What is tomorrow? Sunday would be the 14th through September. I can't remember I believe it's the 21st. So it'll be for that week coming up. So next week on my show, I have a special guest. Susan Feinblum. She wrote a book, Clairvoyant Psychology. It's a new book that shares revolutionary fusing of modern psychotherapy with ancient spiritual wisdom. And we'll be talking to Susan next week and learning all about that. It's definitely going to be a fascinating topic, and I hope that if you have any questions that you feel free to call those in to 866-472-5795. And again, I'd love to have your feedback on any shows. I appreciate all the people that are taking the time to email me in and message me about what's going on, how they're liking the shows. Keep listening. If you're not able to listen live, you can always catch this on iTunes. The podcast is rebroadcast. You can go to my website, www.lisawillette.com, and there's a radio show tab there. You can listen to the shows at your convenience anytime you want. If you want to be on my mailing list and get information about all my other sessions, and I send out e-cards every week about the shows, feel free to go onto my website and join my mailing list, and you can get information there. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. I love bringing information to you each and every week, and I love all the guests that I've had. Again, a special thank you today to Pat and Bryce, and thank you so much for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. TGIF.
Thank you for listening to Empowering Your Soul. Please be sure to join Lisa Ouellet for another engaging program next Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave channel. This week, stop feeling imprisoned and start being empowered.